The major problem is right here where I'm standing in the parking lot. So instead of having fans and players park here, they'll be busing in from about a mile away. We've been here outside the courthouse for most of the morning. While heavy keys are not just a problem for GM models like this one, they're actually an issue for all types of cars. That's when Anderson drove herself here to this Taco Bell in downtown Fort Wayne. Despite a very soggy start to the day, the games are going on as scheduled.
Construction just started yesterday, but sites like this will soon be common here at Fuller's Landing.
Some people might think that the fireworks not being here at Parkview Field could be a problem for 10 Caps. Airport officials are encouraging people to buy locally instead of going to airports like Indianapolis or Chicago. Police arrested Tompkins around 4:45 on Saturday afternoon at this apartment complex. The bounce houses can be weighted down with weights like these or stakes in the ground.
We see all kinds of cars come in here, Dodge, Chrysler, Pontiac, Ford.
Jim McElhaney is the service manager at Preferred Automotive. He says the majority of his customers do not know heavy keychains can cause issues.
There's not enough awareness. We've only seen it because I've done this for close to 30 years. And I tell most of my customers as soon as they bring their cars in and I pull their keys out to write their car up, hey, you can't do this. It's way too much weight.
If you start to notice tightness or like your key is locking in the ignition, chances are you need to take it to the dealer.
We probably see, oh gosh, 1 or 2 a week where we end up replacing the ignition switches.
I decided to put my keys to the test and found out they are the perfect example of what not to do. So I have 2 sets of keys here. These are my personal keys.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what's wrong with them?
Yes, everything.
When your keys are weighed down with other items like your house keys, work keys, and other keychains and unnecessary add-ons like mine, it wears out the tumblers in the ignition switch. Over time, this can make it very difficult to turn your key in the switch or even get it to fit in at all. And that can lead to a costly repair.
Different models are different prices naturally. They could be anywhere from $200 to $300 to replace an ignition switch.
The good news is you can avoid the expense with a simple fix.
If this is the key to your car, key only in the ignition switch, use a quick release for all your other keys.
It's been a long and trying year for Alexis Fairchild and her family. Through it all, though, the 17-year-old has kept her positive attitude and says she will not let her accident define her.
Completely spontaneous. We thought about it in like a minute, and then within 5 minutes we're walking up to go pay for it. So it was like really fast.
The decision to go parasailing may have been a quick one, but it's one that will affect Alexis for the rest of her life. She says she remembers bits and pieces of the day, but there is one image she can't forget.
I remember on the scene of the accident, I remember looking down at my fingers and being like, move, and they weren't moving, and I was just like, what is wrong with me? And I couldn't figure it out.
Alexis says she still dreams often about that first day of July, but she's working on moving past the pain.
I remember a lot of it, but I don't know, it's just not something I want to think about. I don't know, I'm moving forward. I don't need to continue to remember about something that is always there and it happened. I need to move forward or it's kind of gonna haunt me forever.
As she continues to make progress, Alexis wants people to know that she is so much more than her accident.
But it didn't define me. I mean, I could have let it, but it didn't.
Still, the accident has changed Alexis in many ways, both physically and mentally.
I went from one day, I could do everything by myself. I was driving, I was on the go. And then the next day, I couldn't figure out how to move my fingers. And then I couldn't figure out how to stand. And I questioned things a lot, if that makes sense. I put everything in like a scene, if this happens, this could happen, so should I do this or should I do that?
But some way, somehow, Alexis has found the strength to persevere.
I think I've always been a really positive person. And so when I saw this happening, I was like, I need to just start moving. I need to just do the little things because otherwise it's never gonna get done. And then when I would go, I was in rehab for a while, so when I saw other people really down and they didn't get up, I was like, I don't want to be like that person. I want to get up and stay up.
And like any normal high school senior, Alexis is looking to the future.
I want to graduate high school on a walk with my class, the class that I grew up with. That's definitely in the near future, and I want to grab it.
We're at the intersection of West Jefferson and Ewing Streets, and as you can see behind me, a memorial is already in place for the victim of that crash. This is where Carl Harz's life ended, but today we got to learn about what a full life that was.
1 minute he's on his way to work on a beautiful sunny day, and the next minute he's gone.
Investigators say it happened when Hars's motorcycle and a semi were traveling east on Jefferson. When the semi tried to turn left onto Ewing Street, it hit the motorcycle. Medics pronounced Hars dead at the scene.
I'm a firm believer that when it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. And his number was up today, and God took him home.
Family members gathered at the scene today to remember and honor Carl's life.
Anybody that knew Carl loved Carl.
Pieces of his motorcycle scattered across Jefferson this morning. Pieces the family say symbolize the kind of man he was.
Maybe in a couple of weeks I'll give them to them so they can have something to remember him by.
Because these represent what was family was first, but
his motorcycle
riding
was
was
second.
next. Yeah.
Hars had 3 children and 7 grandchildren, with 1 on the way.
He was a great dad. He was a great friend.
Great role model. Uncle.
His kids were blessed by him.
Hars worked as a radio technician for the city for 25 years and also as a sergeant in the Field Services Division for the Sheriff's Department.
He was well liked, well loved. Everybody in the community knows him. Changed a lot of people's lives, not just ours. Everybody that knew him. He's going to be missed.
Allen County Sheriff Ken Freeze released the following statement this afternoon, quote, "He was a great asset to the Reserve organization and he will be greatly missed. I feel deeply saddened for the loss his family, friends, and co-workers are suffering. The coroner has ruled Hars's death as an accident. It is the 19th traffic death in Allen County this year." Reporting live downtown, Sarah Wagner, News Channel 15. Most people think the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Festival is all about the cars, but a handful of folks we met today say it's actually all about the accommodations.
In the base room, you have a bed, sheets, a dresser, a lamp that may or may not work, and you have a sink.
Cameron Peterson has called the Auburn Hotel home every Labor Day weekend for the last 13 years.
It's an experience to stay here. It's definitely not comfortable, but we love it.
Roger Eddy bought the hotel in 1979.
It meant saving the hotel from who knows what fate.
It's certainly not your standard home away from home.
We can't blame people for wanting rooms with air conditioning, televisions, and other amenities.
But Roger says you're guaranteed to enjoy your stay.
Our rooms are historic, authentic, clean, and just like they were in the heyday of the hotel in the 20s and the 30s.
And did we mention the hotel is only open once a year on this weekend only?
Well, it's not the best business plan.
The hotel was built in 1860, and many of the rooms will take you on a trip back in time.
I just get carried back into the 20s and the 30s when this place was in its heyday.
History lives in these walls, along with the occasional surprise guest.
The first year I stayed here, there was a bat in the hall. And this bat terrorized everybody for about 3 days. And yet no one left. Everyone kept staying.
Right.
The human guests say they wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, it's not the Holiday Inn. That's fine. You walk in, you know, the wallpaper's kind of peeling a little bit. It's a little off-putting, but once you're in there, you just feel so comfortable, you just sort of forget it.
It's just unique. The Auburn experience is a very unusual one, and there's nothing like it.
The festival runs through Sunday, and you can find all the information on the schedule and different events happening on this story on WANE.com. Reporting in downtown Auburn, Sarah Wagner, News Channel 15.